So finally, after all these years, I'm finally at the National Motorcycle Museum at Nabiac, and I'm looking forward to having a wander through. Now, Nabiac's known for its motorcycle museum, but there's one more place you should stop. That's over here at the Greenhouse Cafe. The food is delicious, as you're going to find out. Check out this burger. Lovely, lovely chips. We're going to have to open it up like a melt, I think. I talk a big game, but this is going to be hard to top. Can't do it. 2 eggs, bacon. Okay. Oh my god. Almost got me. Well, that was absolutely delicious. I'm going to waddle out of here. But got through everything bar the beetroot, because beetroot's disgusting. So after a good feed, if you have their hamburger, you're definitely going to need it to walk it off, and there's no better place than the museum. You can spend quite a few hours in there checking out all their motorcycles. The range is fantastic. There are over 1,000 motorcycles on display there, and you can almost guarantee they've either got the motorcycle model you learned to ride on, or they've got a motorcycle there that you always wanted to own. Anyway, let's go check it out. So you're coming in through the entrance, and they start you off with toys, because we all started off with toys. Just as we get older, our toys get bigger. Oh boy, how cool is this? Oh, wow, we're katana. That's pretty cool. Even in the toy section, there's bound to be a toy that brings back memories for someone. And in my case, it's this giant crane. I used to have one of these as a kid, and I remember it clearly. I don't know what happened to my bucket, but I remember the controls, I remember all this. And if you didn't have the legs, it would fall over. Great memories. So for my trip down at Tassie, my daughter wanted to come along as well, but you can't fit 3 people on a bike unless you have a sidecar, and I suggested that idea, but it fell on deaf ears by both my girls. Oh wow, an Eleanor, nice. So just when you think you're coming to the end, there's another whole section that also has cars. Cool old postie bikes, CT90s. Oh my gosh, look at this. Just absolute heaven for vehicle enthusiasts. Go Mobile. All right, so one for the Kawasaki fans. You got the Mach 1 250 triple, the 750, which was meant to be the safer one, and the very deadly 500. And everyone knows about these scary bikes, and especially by today's standards. But oh, how good would it be to have a go on one? One for the Harley Davidson fans, an AMF Harley Davidson, which I think is the Air Marchi design that they bought the Air Marchi and actually rebadged those bikes. Oh, how good would that be, Dane? Wow, look at that. All I keep saying is just wow, like, check out some of these bikes. They're just absolutely amazing. And they're not immaculate, but they're in original condition and original use condition. I like that even more. It means they've got a story. Have a look at this. Oh, I can guarantee you, if you had a bike at some time in your life, regardless of the era, it's going to be in here somewhere. I'm loving these old cars. Well, so much for me saying I'm only going to show you a couple of things in here. It's too good not to share, but more importantly, come up and have a look for yourself. Places like this need patronage to keep going, and if no one comes here, they eventually disappear, which is a shame. A lot of rumours went around saying that the museum had closed, and when that is definitely not the case. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and this is one of those cases. Now, the museum itself is open between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So an ideal place to stop for lunch, and that would be part of my plan too. Normally heading up north and you want to stop at somewhere like this, you get a lot of opposition from family members that probably aren't exactly into motor vehicles, and a simple fix for that is stop and have a feed. Look at this Lambretta, much like the one, but this one's a little bit bigger than the one we saw at the Bulleye Antique Motorcycle Show just recently. Oh, RG500. That's a Suzuki turbo of the era. Now, the big four all had a go at turbos, so it's pretty cool. Oh, big Suzuki GS1100G, nice. Rotary engine Suzuki. I could be here all day and still not see everything I needed to see or realise what's here. GT250, look at these. Absolutely amazing. And even one from the European block, the MZ. Oh, just in total awe. Now I want to go get that Kawasaki KE100 I saw just recently. Now I no sooner turn this camera off than I come across a 450 Mark III. Just amazing. Check out these old shirts. Oh, awesome. Oh, Motor Goodsy. All right, more to, that's just this one section. Could have spent a lot more time in here, but on a bit of a time crunch because it closes at 3 p.m. So the big hint is opens at 10, closes at 3, get up here early because you can spend hours in here just looking at it. Truly, oh, speedway bikes, truly amazing. And exactly the same at the other end. You come down from that end, there's a shed up that way, you come down to this end and more bikes down that way. Even one for the scooters, we've got you covered. Vespers, Lambrettas. Well, that's not a scooter. Race bikes. Legend. More race bikes. Oh my God. When you come through, look at this big old Tourer. Big GS Tourer, nice. Another Katana. And look, Kajiva, Maito, Bultakos. Oh, now this is the bike that started it all for me, riding a Suzuki A100. And if it has it, yes it does. You can see the heel toe shifter, which I absolutely loved. It works well because this one's big enough that your boot can sit on it and you can go either way. Some of the other bikes, that they're too big, so you've got to move your foot backwards and forwards. With this, you could virtually sit it on there. There's your Lera. Oh, RS250s. Not many of these because most of them are crashed, and those that have them now know what they're worth. Oh, the bike that started my Ducati craze. I had one of these. And like it says, they were savaged by motorcycle users and referred to as a dog. But these were super reliable compared to their super sport counterparts that they replaced. The Verda, that's the RGS. Absolutely beautiful bikes. Another bike on my bucket list that I've probably missed out on. Oh wow, that is actually a factory colour. Believe it or not, how cool is it? Oop. And a bit of a leak, see, even Honda's leak. Or it's probably been parked over where something else has leaked. Oh, check out the old Rego sticker, October 10th, 1982. Finally, yes, Motor Goodsy. For a sec there, I thought that was a DR200 because it's a Suzuki. same colour. And back in the day, I used to have a DR200 and it was replaced by the Hasselblad T300. I would give wouldn't give anything. I would love to have that DR200 back, and I've tried to find it, but with no luck. Oh, another Ducati, almost missed that. That's a Ducati as well. How cool is that Gilera? Oh, well, no one. That's all I've said the whole time. How cool is this? How cool is that? Another Ducatis. Now, I wasn't really a big fan of the singles, but my God, they're beautiful. Problem is, you don't realise how beautiful they are until they're unobtainium. That's the problem. You really need to be paying attention when you're in here, because there are so many good bikes you could just walk straight past, which is pretty much what I've done. So I'm going to do another lap without the camera. But another Gilera, Benelli. Oh, everything's covered. So even the custom scene has been covered. Also, the Japanese motors into custom frames, or they'd customise the bike to make these choppers. How good do they look? Especially this one here. That is pretty cool. For those of you who watched the show earlier, you remember I had a Laro Pro Street 50. And this one's the Hunter 250, which is very similar in some ways. There are key differences, but pretty awesome. Like, it's a 250cc, and for a little while they were made right. They were not made. They were made overseas, but they were assembled here in Australia and sold. And anyone who remembers seeing Housos will remember seeing one of those on the show. Look at all these race bikes. Now, the cool thing about seeing these race bikes here is the fact that a lot of them were stripped for parts, smashed into oblivion, and you'd find them just left in a shed somewhere, or worse still, taken to the tip, recyclers, and look, got them here. We're holding on to history, and I think we've learned that now. Things shouldn't be chucked out, they should be held onto just for historical purposes, especially when they have a story to tell, much like these race bikes do of this era. Check out the Matter Guzzi 4-cylinder. So tiny. This was made back in the late 60s. How clever. All right, so just when you think you Harley fans and Indian fans aren't catered for, they got you covered here. Pretty much any bike you can think of, it's here. Oh, Nortons. Oh, nice. Love that yellow on the Norton. It's pretty cool. The red is even prettier. More modern one. All day you're just going wow. So definitely leave yourself at least 2 hours to look through here. 4 hours if you're a motorcycle fan. It's just that good. So if you've seen the SkyTeam Ace and you're wondering what it was based on, one of these, but this is actually a Honda Dream, and have a look at that tiny little 50cc, and look at the red line, 13,500 RPM back in the day. Now I think they're aftermarket, but amazing, just amazing. Now, like I said, if you blink, you miss it. Now, not only was there this Honda CBX Super Sport, a 6-cylinder beast, but you've got this Husky from the 80s. Look at this, it's a vampire. Now, there weren't many of these made because they were big, heavy, and overpriced, but didn't they look luxurious? But, oh, a befor, the RC30. Definitely come up here, grab yourself some lunch from the Greenhouse Cafe, and then after that, walk the food off, going around here, having a look at this fantastic museum. Now, not only that, one of my top tips is if you're going to meet some friends, meet them here. That way, if they're running late, you can take even longer to have a look around. Anyway, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, check out some other videos of motorcycle shows and museums.